When you think of your favorite country artist, a specific song probably comes to mind. But if I asked you if your favorite artist has released an album in the last few years, could you say yes? You see, there are some artists that have held their name within country music, but when it comes to new music, you kind of wonder, where have they gone? And too much time has gone by without new music. They are overdue for an album. You start asking, what are they up to? Take country artist Jamey Johnson. He's an artist that has kind of fallen off the new music radar. In fact, we'll touch on him more towards the end of this video, but here's what he had to say during an interview with Decide It's Your Turn podcast. Quote, "I like to think country radio and I have a pact. They don't play my music and I don't play theirs. I'm Addison Hager for Taste of Country, and what do you think of Jamey's quote above?" Little tongue-in-cheek moment there? We've compiled 10 artists, including Jamey Johnson, that we haven't heard from in a while. But gosh darn it, we are eager for more music from. We'll be diving into when they last released an album, and if we've heard any rumblings of future resurfacing happening. Before I dive in and share the 10 artists we've got for you, let us know what artist album you think is long overdue in the comment section of this video. And then once you've done that, scroll on back up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you won't miss out when breaking country music news hits. Kicking it off, we've got Chris Young. Young's last album was Losing Sleep, released in October of 2017. This is his 7th studio album, and although you could argue that it's only been 4 years, that's a big change for Young, who, before that, put out albums consistently every couple of years. The longest break between albums came in between his self-titled debut, released in 2006, and his sophomore project, The Man I Want to Be, in 2009. Thankfully, Young must have heard that we were adding him to this list because his long-awaited 8th studio album will be out August of 2021. Famous Friends is the title of that album, after his current single, his collaboration with Kane Brown. TellingPeople.com in an interview, quote, "It's been so long that I've been talking about all the stuff that I did in the past year and a half, and I think people at one point thought I was just messing with them a little bit. They're like, do you actually have an album coming out? But it's so exciting to have this information out there." Kellie Clarkson made our list next. And while we've seen her around, busier than ever with her talk show, album-wise, we haven't heard from her since Meaning of Life, which was released in October of 2017. But 2020 would come with a divorce from ex-husband Brandon Blackstock, turning Clarkson to pen her current season of life into new music, even noting to Garth Brooks during an interview on her show that Brooks' number The Dance really got her through the low moments of her divorce, leading her to write a number inspired by his. Her 8th studio album is set to release in 2021, telling Today, quote, "This next record, this will probably be the most personal one I've ever released. The whole record is basically every emotion you experience from the beginning of a relationship to the end of what it is now. And it's been very therapeutic for me. It's very honest. There's one that my kids sing in the car because I'm going through mixes, and I'm just like, this is weird. Like it's your relationship. I've never written about my life to where my kids are like singing along." Brad Paisley. The last time the singer released an album was Love and War in April of 2017. Since then, he's had a couple of singles like Bucked Off, My Miracle, and collaborations with other artists like Freedom is a Highway with Jimmy Allan from Allan's 2020 album Betty James, the duo performing it live during the 2021 ACM Awards. Paisley's most recent single, City of Music, released in June 2021, and while this number will be on his upcoming album, there is nothing set in stone on when that album will be coming out. Next, we have the one and only Toby Keith. Our gap in years is starting to get farther apart. Keith's last album being in October of 2015, 35 Miles an Hour Town, this country legend was averaging almost an album a year for 15 years prior. What the heck, Toby? Although it seems like it's going to be pretty hard to peer pressure Keith and releasing another album, we can try. Hit the thumbs up button if you're ready to see the singer break his 6-year hiatus. Now, he doesn't have a new album on the horizon, but we will share the good news that you will be able to hear Keith's fresh vocals on Brantley Gilbert's number, The Worst Country Song of All Time, which features Toby Keith and Hardy. This number is set to be released on June 18th. Let's keep moving and talk about our buddy Billy Currington. The last album he dropped was Summer Forever in June of 2015. Single-wise, the singer has had Seaside in 2020, Details in 2019, and Bring It On Over in 2018. He's outperforming in 2021, but don't get your hopes up on an album anytime soon. Okay, that's 5 so far. Which artists that I've mentioned above are you most excited to see an album from in the future? Or if your favorite artist is Toby Keith and no album on the horizon, hit that thumbs up button. Alrighty, moving along to Kellie Pickler. Yeah, she's around. But yeah, you may have had to do a quick aha, yes, I remember that moment, because Pickler's last album was The Woman I Am back in November of 2013. From 2013 to 2021, although no new albums had been produced, the singer did dip her toes into the talk show world. The Faith Hill-produced TV show Pickler and Ben, starring host Kellie Pickler and Ben Aaron, would air for 2 seasons, ultimately being canceled in 2019. And as of February 4th of this year, the singer became a USO ambassador. As for new music, she mentioned in an interview with Sounds Like Nashville that she had new music written. Quote, "My husband Kyle and I have been writing. He's been working so hard producing music for other artists and whatnot. We're ready to get back in the studio and put new music out that will heal people and help people." But we will say none of that sounds promising regarding pumping out an album in 2021. Gary Allan's last album was also in 2013. Set You Free was the name of the album, and here's the good news. If you've been twiddling your thumb since 2013, you won't have to anymore. Allan's long-awaited 10th studio album, Ruthless, will be released on June 25th, a whole 8 years in between his last one. Add another year on, and that's where you will find when Hank Williams Jr. last released an album. Old School New Rules, Williams Jr. released in July of 2012. Since then, you technically can say he's released an album a few years ago with Nash Icon Records, but they were just re-recordings, nothing new. When it comes to new content, there's nothing pointing us towards that, unfortunately. We're coming back to Jamey Johnson, who has had a whopping 11 years go by without a new album. The guitar song in September 2010 was his last, and it was a double album that was really just all the songs that didn't make the Lonesome Song in 2008. He ended up on Taste of Country's recent Hot Again chart because of the rumors of new music. No, don't get too excited, because hence the word rumors. He's out touring and doing media rounds, so it does all point to gearing up for new music, but don't hold your breath. And coming in at number 10, the largest gap since her last album, is the one and only Faith Hill. Fireflies was her last album, released in August of 2005. We keep up with her thanks to her 3 daughters posting moments on social media and her equally talented husband Tim McGraw, but she's someone who's gone pretty silent music-wise. In fact, Hill and why she hasn't released new music is such a hot topic, we did a whole trivia series on it. We'll leave a link to that in the description below if you want to check it out. After Fireflies, Hill would go on to release her last solo single, American Heart, in 2012, and then flash forward to 2017, and both McGraw and Hill would sign with Sony Music Nashville, touring together for their Soul to Soul, the World Tour. From there, she would go on to release other singles, but had a harder time finding where she fit in country music. So she did technically release other albums, but the last full country one was Fireflies. Like we said, we've got a more in-depth video on Faith and her music in the description below. What are your thoughts on the artists above? Any that you're specifically excited to hear new music from? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Addison Haker for Taste of Country. Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks for subscribing.